Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 204, and good morning. Oh man, where do I start? There's a lot of crazy shit that's been happening this week. Anyway, I want to talk about sports. I don't know if you guys watch any college football or followers of college football, the guys who do watch my channel. But I was reading somewhere on the very first day that the portal opened, which was December 9th, I believe. Something like 3,800 kids, put their names in the portal, right? So my thing is, back in my day, there was no such thing as the transfer portal. It's like either you walked onto the school that you were at, or you got recruited by the school you was at, and you stayed there for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it was, right? Of course, you had guys transferring everything too, but the rules were different back then. If you transferred, you had to sit out a year, so you lose a year of eligibility simply just because, right? Nowadays it's different. I'm not saying that the transfer portal is good or bad, whatever, but it's just another tool. The other thing I don't like is how rampant and how out of control the NIL is. Now, I'm not saying that these kids shouldn't get paid, because I remember back in my day, like I said, they were making jerseys, making video games, they were making multi-million dollars off these kids, and these kids wasn't getting paid a dime. And the whole time they were like, oh, we're giving you a free education. Never mind that you're running there for practice from like 5 in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night. Never mind the fact that, that they're doing all this community service shit in the community and not getting compensated for it. I'm not saying that they should get compensated for community service. I'm just saying. But the only trade-off is like, yeah, well, you get a piece of paper after 4 or 5 years, and if you're good enough to make it to the pro level, then yeah, good luck. But let's be honest. A lot of kids ain't gonna make it, man. Whether it's because they didn't get a break or whatever it was, or they didn't know the right people, or all kinds of stuff, right? Or maybe they said the wrong thing, to the wrong person when they were 19, and that person never forgot it. But it's just stuff that I think about, man. It's like, I'm not saying that these babies shouldn't get paid. I'm not saying that they don't deserve them, but I'm saying it's like, when you're making more money at 19 than some professionals are doing, and they actually made it to the league and actually grinded for their shit, and it's like, because here's my gripe with the transfer portal. My gripe with it is like, oh, if you don't like it, you can leave. If I don't like it, I can leave. And a lot of the times, it has nothing to do. I can understand if the coach gets fired, the coach quits mid-season or whatever it is. Yeah, I understand all that. I get all that. Or I understand certain things, because it's like, if the guy who recruited you is not there, then why would you stick around in a program where you don't know none of the staff, right? I think I disagree with the transfer portal. They had this article about this kid from Oregon. Mind you, Oregon's the number 1 team in the country, and they try to make it a big deal, saying X, Y, and Z, and all this stuff, right? And come to find out, the kid played 1 snap the entire year. Man, if you were recruited to play at Oregon, that means you can ball out at most likely the highest level. But to play 1 snap a year, the whole year, and then you want to come with an article saying that I'm transferring, because X, Y, and Z, and they're acting like he was such a star player. Bro, you played 1 snap against Maryland the whole season. So that tells me one thing: either you wasn't studying film enough, you wasn't taking this shit seriously, and they moved on in a different direction. And now you want to be like, well, I still want to play. You have literally no footage on you. And like I said, Oregon's one of the best programs in the country. One of the best schools in the country. Academically and athletically. all around. Let's not forget that Phil Knight is right up the street, and he went to Oregon too, and he's the founder of Nike. So there you go. Anyway, so it's like, okay, all that shit was said. I just don't like it when kids don't try. You know, I don't know his story, but I'm just speculating because you figure one snap the whole year, that means you wasn't doing much. You know, or that means you wasn't, that means you wasn't either trying hard enough or whatever it is. Because if that's me, if I'm recruited by Oregon, I'm telling the coaching staff, like, yo, coach, what do I got to do to get in the field? What do I have to do to maintain this scholarship for X, Y, and Z, right? Because it's like, okay, you hop in the portal. Like I said in the beginning, 3,800 kids are in the fucking portal. A lot of those kids aren't gonna pick up with another team. It's like, i.e., for example, what my hoodie says, Hawaii football. The former quarterback Schrager, he hopped in a portal, and then he realized that nobody wanted his ass, so he came back to UH. That was just stupid. Because you thought it was better for you on the other side, and it wasn't. You know, you thought you was actually going to put up some numbers and some Pac-5 schools was going to come get you, and they weren't. Or is that guys go to, some, Pac-10, I mean, not Pac-10, but Pac-12 or Big 10 or Big 12 school or SEC school, and they think, oh, well, I can play with anybody. No, you can't. That's just a different level. That's a different level. There's a reason why a lot of these kids go to mid-major programs, because you're not that good for that level. I'm not saying that you can't play. I'm saying when you stack it up against everybody else, you ain't it. And it's important to realize that you got to face facts, As much as kids want to go to the NFL, as much as kids want to do X, Y, and Z, it's like, you're most likely not going to make it, just simply based off the numbers. And in the NFL, there's 256 draft picks a year. There's several hundred or several thousand of these kids that apply for the NFL draft every year. Do the math on that, man. You have to be extremely talented and extremely good to get selected into the NFL. And same thing with the NBA. NBA's even have less numbers. You know what I mean? So just the sheer math alone is it just proves that you're not, that it's a strong likelihood that you're not gonna make it to see an NFL football field. Anyway, other thing I want to pivot towards is I was talking this week about being grateful. I don't know if you guys listen to my 6 a.m. Truck talks, because that's what I call them. When I get to the gig at 6 a.m., I just kind of sit in the truck for a little bit, and I kind of just ponder, right? And I was thinking about, man, this week. This week and this year has been a lot. Just dealing with certain things, dealing with certain people, and the holidays are kind of weird because it's just me and my mom's. It's house is kind of quiet because my brother's not here. So. And so it just things that, man. It's like I find myself being grateful for the moments I have, being grateful for the people that are in my life, and being grateful just overall. You don't want to be that dude who's not grateful. You don't want to be that dude who isn't who isn't thankful to be here for another day. Every morning I tell myself, as soon as I get up, like, yo, what are we grateful for? I'm grateful to see another day. Simple as that. I'm grateful that, I can wake up in the morning and be ambulatory. You know? That's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful in the morning that I can get up and that my girl will either FaceTime me or text me the first thing in the morning. And speaking of that, I'm grateful for a second opportunity, man. Because a lot of the times when you fumble and you fuck up, I'm not saying just me. I'm saying both people. You end up realizing that like what you got here is a good thing. What you have here is is something worth keeping around. Not as an option, but just in general, because it's like you don't know what it's like, to go without until you have to. You don't know what it's like to have to go without until you're like, I really need this person in my life. Because I've had people, I've had to escort out of my life, and they come back and they're like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z happened. I'm like, I'm sorry that you're going through that, but what's that got to do with me? Yeah, like what's that got to do with me? That has nothing to do with me. Like you made your choices, and that was that. I think it's extremely stupid to sit there and think that people owe you space, or people owe you an explanation. Because nobody does, man. Like, nobody owes you space in their life, and nobody needs to tell you shit, right? And I think a lot of people get caught up in that, be like, well, I would do that for you. Yeah, no, you wouldn't, but okay. Right? Or like, when people say, oh, I wouldn't do that to you. Yes, you would. This opportunity hasn't come up yet. Oh, I wouldn't treat you like that. Yes, you would. But you still need me. Oh, I wouldn't do X, Y, and Z like you do that to you. Again, yes, you would. The opportunity hasn't come up yet to do that. Call me jaded, call me whatever you want to call me, but it's true. I've seen girls get in a relationship with guys, and I'll tell them exactly what's going to happen. I'll be like, well, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. And literally months later, the same thing I told them that was going to happen happens. And I'm like, these are the type of girls who end up getting involved with guys who aren't the most forthcoming, right? So they want to sit there and blame them. And I'm like, nah. After the second, third dude, it was like, it's your fault. The first guy, yeah, I got to give you a break on that because maybe you didn't know. Second guy, same thing. Third guy, common denominator is most likely you. And a lot of people don't want to sit there and and come to a conclusion. I'm like, it's like it is you. It's always been you. When you fail to recognize the red flags, it's like because you can't change people, man. It's like I wish people would literally stop doing that. Like stop trying to make people see your worth who don't want to see your worth. It's like, or like, if you just want something physical, with an individual, say that. Like, don't waste their time and think that, oh, well, if I string them along, this and this and that, it's like I'll eventually get what I want. I think, no, it's like, if you just want sex, say that. If you want something else, if you want a long-term relationship, say that. If you want somebody to wake up next to every morning and somebody to fall asleep with, every night, say that. Like, don't assume that people want the same thing you want. Or don't assume that, people want to change after you've caught feelings in a situation that, oh, okay, I want something different, but you don't vocalize that. But and getting back to me being grateful, man, it's like you have to be grateful for the people that are in your life. For the people who don't judge you. And when I say judge you, I don't mean in a sarcastic, funny way. Because but I'm talking about the people who sit there, who listen to your problems, and they're like, okay, I get all that, and I understand all that. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that it's also your kuleana too. It's your problem to figure out. Like, you can't sit there and blame somebody else for it when you're an active participant. You can't sit there and become an animated individual when you were an active participant. You can't sit there and get be animated when you're the one who spearheaded the whole thing. Make it make sense. You don't get to do that. You don't get to be like, oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. Like, no, it's like, it is what it is, man. You don't, like I said, you don't get that luxury of doing that. And you don't get the luxury of playing victim when you was an active participant. Like, just be grateful that you have people around you who keep it a buck with you. Because the worst thing you can have is people around you be like, oh yeah, girl, oh yeah, man, it's not your fault, this and this and that. Like, nah, my nigga, it is your fault. It is your fault, shorty. Like, like, it is your fault that you keep picking the same type of fuckboys, or, bro, it is your fault that you keep picking the same type of these goofy ass bitches. Because it is. It's like, don't get upset, when people fucking give you the real. It's like, I had this partner of mine growing up. Same thing. It's like he was blaming his ex for all this shit. I'm like, yo, all right, I hear all that, right? All right, shorty wanted to get married. You guys were together for X amount of years. You never wanted to have the conversation. After a while, she got tired of waiting. To the point, dog, that she blocked him on social media. She changed her phone number. That's how fucking hurt she was. It's one thing to get blocked, because everybody's been blocked once or twice in their life, right? It's another thing when shorty changes her number. When they change their number, they want nothing to do with you, right? That's how fucked up the situation was. And I was like, you sitting there blaming her, and my boy, you never wanted to get married in the first place, so you just essentially wasted her time. And maybe because you had in-house pussy that you didn't want to give that up, but you don't fucking play with people like that, man. Like, you don't. And you know what? It is what it is. Well, unfortunate. And definitely not it's not the most conducive thing to do. I get it, because people don't want to lose what they have, right? But at the same time, once that happens, it's like, you're like, okay, like, what do we do now? How do we handle this shit now? After, because hindsight's always 20/20, right? But at the end of the day, if you're going through the same shit or going through the same issues, and motherfuckers are leaving you left and right, like my partner told me once, he's like, man, if you being left all the time, then homie, it's you. It's not nobody else. It's not nobody else's bullshit. It's you. It's your inability to recognize what's going on. Recognize that you need to make a change, and you need to move accordingly, because you don't get to sit there and say everybody else is the fucking problem. It's like having an adult who can't get it together, who is always blaming something on the situation on something else. No, it's your fault. You know, it's like having an adult who can't pay their rent on time. And then when they finally get evicted, then like now they want to be worried about it. Like, bro, you should have been worried about it the fucking first month you was behind. Not the 4th, not the 5th, not the 6th. You know, you should have called the people that you knew to help you out the day you knew you was gonna be behind, not 6 months later. You know what I mean? But at a certain point in time, like I said, man, you have to have the ability to know when the shit's not for you. And some people just ain't for you. And so, in turn, man, it's like the gratitude when it comes down to it is that you have to understand that not everybody's meant to be in your life forever. You know, not everybody's meant to be here for the long haul, not the lifetime. Maybe a season, maybe a couple months, hell, maybe a chapter. A chapter is what? A year. You know? Sometimes people come in to teach you what not to do because of all the shit that they've done, and vice versa. You don't, you know, and every time something ends, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that, that it's horrible. But at the same time, there's always lessons in it. You know? And stay away from people who just don't want to get it. You know, stay away from people who don't understand that you need gratitude. You need to be grateful for not only the triumphs but the struggles as well. Like, because you don't get better by just fucking getting wins, bro. You don't. You don't get better by doing that. You get better by losing. You get better by falling on your face. You get better like, okay, you know, whether it's you beefing with your girl, you beefing with your dude, you beefing with whoever, right? You know, somebody that you care about. You don't get better by just fucking being, or not having arguments or whatnot too. I'm not saying arguments aren't, that they can't be toxic and destructive, because they can. But at the same time, it's like if you're in a relationship with somebody, you have to have that open lane of communication. And there's gonna be some shit that pisses you off. There's gonna be some shit that they do that pisses you the fuck off. You know, because I know there's some shit that I do that pisses my girl all the way off. You know, but at the same time, it's like, you don't have to yell at them, you don't have to scream at them, but like, baby, what's on your mind? Some simple sentence, baby, what's on your mind? What's going on? Because I can hear it in your voice. And there are sometimes too, like when I I'll drop Easter eggs in a situation, and she'd be like, baby, you want to just go ahead and just tell me how you feeling? Okay, yeah. But at the same time, it's like you have to have that communication, and you have to know that you're in a safe space. And once you establish that, work your ass off to keep it. You know, because you never know what's coming on the pipe. One day you could be here, next day you be gone. You know, so try not to leave anything with anybody unsaid. Make amends with people, and understand that everybody's here for a reason. They're here to teach you something. So just open your mind and understand that you're not always fucking right. Sometimes the toxic fucking person is you. Alright, y'all, this is about 24 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping it 4 P's, private, player, positive, and pushing. I'll see y'all next week. Happy holidays. I love y'all. Ghosts. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace. All right, y'all. Happy holidays.